First, should we scrap migrants' right to bring over families? Call us now, 0207 2222. Keir Starmer has pledged to end what he calls a golden ticket for asylum seekers, which means they have an automatic right to bring over their families to Britain. The Prime Minister's in Copenhagen for talks on defence and migration. He said the current refugee system is unfair and, the phrase they always use, not fit for purpose, because it gives greater rights to small boat migrants than those who've arrived legally. Currently, after being granted asylum, families can immediately join their relatives. Starmer said settlement must be earned by contributing to our country, not by paying a people smuggler to cross the channel in a boat. Is that right, Dawn?
I think it should be a fairer system, for sure. It can't be right that somebody who crosses illegally in a small boat gets greater rights than people who have come here legally and people who are British citizens trying to get loved ones over here. I mean, I've got a friend who's married to a Jamaican chap, and she's been trying to get him over here legally for 10 years. And she's jumping through all sorts of legal hoops to get this. And it's like, we joke, let's just get him on a boat and cross the channel, and he'll be fine. I mean, so I
seriously, that's such a thought. But well, he would have problems if he did that, wouldn't he?
I mean, yes, of course, but I mean...
But wouldn't he have problems working and stuff?
Well, we're joking about it, but that's the system she's stuck in. The system is
crazy. I mean,
broken.
this is crazy.
Yes,
if you've got more rights as a person on a boat.
Absolutely agree. But then my argument is that should not be the case. If you are a Brit and you have a partner from overseas, you should be allowed to bring them here. There should be no barrier. So
really?
So if you're a British...
Because you'll get sham marriages left, right and centre.
Well, that's just too bad.
What?
If you're a British... Hang on a second.
There was a vicar who was convicted of doing sham marriages
recently.
Are we
actually talking about stopping Brits from falling in love and marrying and wanting to marry people from overseas?
No, you do what the Americans do. You say, look, we don't believe this is a real marriage until you prove it. That's what you do.
Okay, fine, around the sham marriages. But I think British
you've got to
people...
answer questions.
Fine.
Like, what colour eyes has she got, for example?
Fine, but British people should be, in that case, should be allowed to bring their spouse over.
To be honest, after 40 years, just saying.
I mean, I had a friend who married an American, and he just thought it was absolutely straightforward, and they came and said, we need wedding photos. And I think someone visited his house, it's about 20, 30 years ago, and they wanted to see wedding photos and for him to talk through the people in the photos. Is that amazing?
That's probably quite a rigorous, I appreciate that system. But what Dawn's describing is completely wrong.
Okay,
so we shouldn't be comparing with that.
Let's get another view from Steve Valdez-Simmons from Amnesty International. You don't like this at all, Steve?
No, I think it's inhuman. I also think it's remarkably foolish. It is very important, I think, as you've indicated, to recognise that the people this policy would apply to are people who are lawfully staying, have been identified as refugees, entitled to asylum, and only granted permission to stay because that is their right. And then they are told that despite this government saying it's so important that they must better integrate, that no, they must be permanently, or certainly for a very long time, separated from their most close family members, their partners and their children, who can only rejoin them, of course, by taking the same boat journey with the same smugglers all over again in exactly the same way that supposedly the government wants to clamp down on, but here is encouraging yet again.
Dawn, you want to respond to that?
I just think, can you explain to me, because you do need a lawyer to explain this, Steve, how the system punishes people that are, trying to bring, loved ones over legally, and yet if you cross the channel in a small boat, which is illegal, you can bring loved ones over once you've been, once you're past, you are okay for asylum. How is that a thing? How have we got into that situation?
Well, there are two things going on there. First of all, it is not illegal for a refugee to cross borders without permission. And so when someone is recognised to be a refugee, it should make clear to everybody that what they have done in entering a small boat is not breaking laws. Moreover, it's very important to recognise that this country offers no visa to anyone to seek asylum here, no matter how strong their claim to be here would be. So those people have no choice but that boat. As for your other question...
Sorry, Steve, just to interrupt. The key thing... Steve, sorry. The thing that we come back to again and again is they're fleeing from France. France is safe. They were not in danger when they left France. So forget it.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to forget it for three reasons. First of all, this country is as obligated as France and any other to take its share of responsibilities. And if it will not provide visas, it will receive its responsibilities in these sorts of ways. And by the way, France takes significantly more responsibility than does this country. Secondly, people are not safe in France. I have been to France. I have seen the lives that the people who get into these boats are living, even receiving state violence from the French police.
Oh.
That is not safety.
Well, no, that's...
Third,
yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, the idea that you're not safe in France, and how many people does that apply to?
go and see the lives that people live.
OK, all right. Michael, stay with us. Michael in Peterborough, hi.
Good morning, all. Just like to say on this issue that I think ultimately we can't take everyone. I appreciate people want to be seen as doing the right thing, but why don't we do things right for a change? This isn't racism, it's placism. We cannot continue to go on down this road taking more and more people. We don't have enough places for these people, and we also have our own issues. We have people using food banks, for God's sake, and people that can't get on a housing list, and yet we're concerned about migrants.
So you think the Starmer policy is the right policy?
I think it's a step in the right direction. What all he's doing is effectively mirroring what Reform want to do.
Yeah, but maybe I'm going crazy here. Starmer has just accused Reform of racism, and now he's copying their policies. I just don't understand it. I can't get my head. Help me.
He's not copying the policy.
Can you explain it?
He's not copying the policy.
Well, why isn't it racist to do this?
Well, it's not racist to do this. I think it's
but it's racist to do reformist policies.
They are very different policies.
Are they?
So the racist element of reformist policy was around indefinite leave to remain,
which Labour has as well.
Right. Okay. But it's different because the indefinite leave to remain policy that Reform wants is that if you're from the EU. And you've got indefinite leave to remain, you're fine, you're good. But if you're not from the EU, i.e. you're brown, you're from Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, you do not have the same rights. That is structurally racist. OK,
thank you for explaining. Harry in Monmouthshire, hi.
Hi, Jeremy. How's it going? You OK?
Really well, thank you. Is this a good policy from Keir Starmer?
Like your last caller said, it's a step in the right direction. We have got a growing population, we've got an ageing population, and we can't help everyone. I know it's sad to say this. I'd love to be able to help everyone in the world. The world is not a fantastic place at the moment, as we can clearly tell from all the conflict and famine and everything else. But we cannot take everyone.
Harry,
it's simply not possible.
We've been talking to Steve of Amnesty. We have got a declining birth rate. We're going to need migrants. We've got plenty of space. Parts of this country look like the moon. Why shouldn't we take a lot of people? Why shouldn't we take,
Jeremy,
500,000 a year?
Down to the real issue. Why have we got a declining birth rate?
Because it's expensive to live here.
Too expensive.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm 30 years old. I haven't got any children. I want children. Me and my wife, we're going to have children. We can't afford to right now. We've seen all this in the recent times about the two-child benefit cap. I know that's a different issue. But the fact is, if you can't support yourself, and if the people in this country can't support ourselves, how can we support other people? I can't buy a house.
Marina's coming in here. It's a big moment.
So, why do you think people coming over in boats and say it's like, 30,000 a year, why do you think those people are the reason that you and your partner can't have children?
They're not the reason. The reason is the billionaires, the 1% who control the entire economies. Look, Elon Musk yesterday breached 500 billion. You're telling me it's fair for that one man to have 500 billion?
No, we're agreed. But Harry, when you're saying we're full, the reason why we can't have kids, you're linking it to migrants. It's nothing to do with migrants. Migrants are not the reason you can't afford to pay your rent or to buy a house or whatever. It's to do with the fact that billionaires are out of control.
OK, he probably agrees on that.
Out of control.
Steve, it's a very difficult issue, this, isn't it, Steve? Because it seems like Labour are moving towards reform here, although they're describing reform's policies as racist. And the only people who seem to really agree with you are the Liberal Democrats.
Well, it clearly is a very difficult and, quite frankly, dangerous situation at the moment, because for anybody who is concerned about the number of people who come to countries such as this through routes that are controlled by smugglers, these sorts of policies are going to make that very much worse. The facts are that not just for years, but actually for decades, European countries, including this one, rich European countries, have not seen people moving, seeking asylum in anything like the number that countries like Lebanon, Iran, Pakistan, Jordan, Uganda, and many others have long seen. And that cannot go on.
Okay.
So either we take our responsibilities in a managed and sensible way, and save money, by the way, or we will continue to see this sort of chaos.
Fascinating. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us from Amnesty International. That is Steve Valdez-Simons. After the break, we're taking more of your calls on this. Should we scrap migrants' rights to bring over their families? Now, more calls on whether the right for migrants to bring over their families should be scrapped. At the moment, as soon as a migrant is granted asylum, their families are free to join them. Keir Starmer wants that right to be earned. Loads of people calling. Andy in West Yorkshire, do you think he's right to scrap it?
I'm not sure it's right to scrap it, but I just think we should be investing money into the root cause of why people are wanting to flee the countries. Can't we do something to help and make the places safer? So,
well, of course, Tony Blair was big into that, wasn't he? Hang on, Tony Blair tried to do something by flattening Iraq and Afghanistan, and more refugees come from there than almost any other country.
I don't think that word did it, and I think we were puppets for America in that one as well. So I don't really think that was the answer.
So what was, because he was trying to stop a tyrant, Saddam Hussein, and bring in a democracy, and on paper it looked great. So what's your plan?
I wish I had a plan. I'd be Prime Minister.
Well, I mean, in the end, we're sort of calling for the return of British colonies here, aren't we? This is the crazy thing. We're not able to do that, are we? Or are we?
No, we're not, Jeremy.
Well, okay, so we stop aid, we just live our own little lives here, or what?
No, I think there needs to be a global effort here. There needs to be a global effort, which we're not seeing at the moment.
Because we're not going to. Because look, America has voted to turn inwards because they realised there's just nothing in it for them. Of course they're turning inwards.
They're not. Look at Trump's plans for Gaza. That's not turning inwards. That's him. That's basically like
well, if you call it Trump Gaza, it kind of is,
well,
isn't
we're sending Tony Blair there. Hey, what could possibly go wrong?
No, the thing is, we've got our fingerprints. We have got our fingerprints on so many of these, the reasons that people are actually coming over here. And then to go, actually, not for us.
Well, okay, Andy's saying, I'm not in any way diminishing your comments, Andy, essentially save the world. I'm saying the alternative to that is to basically have a secure border. And the world's problems don't come here.
It doesn't work. That's like the equivalent of putting your fingers in your ears and going la la la.
Well, that works actually a lot of the time.
No, and if everyone did that, what would happen? Let's just say, I don't know, let's say Putin decided to get very angry with us Brits, right? Mm-hmm. And I know bombed parts of the country.
Well, we're in NATO.
And let's just play along, right?
Okay. Oh.
And then we need to go somewhere, and all of the countries neighbouring us have decided, actually, do you know, we're good.
Well, post-Brexit, that might happen. Yeah, you're right. All right, Andy, thank you. Bless you. Don in Manchester, hi. We're going back to this Labour policy. Is the Labour policy racist or the reform policy is racist, but theirs isn't? I'm losing track of this stuff.
It has to be stopped. It must be stopped. I went on holiday to the Philippines 16 years ago. I met a woman, got married, we had children. We had the kids.
Lovely.
And I made the mistake of getting married in the Philippines. Now I'm an indigenous Brit. I applied for the visa, got married. The kid was born. It was registered over there at the British Embassy. Anyway, no, you can't have a visa because we didn't meet some fiscal rule.
Yeah, interesting. So the rule is get married. If you're marrying someone from the Philippines, bring them over and marry them here, I guess. But then you might have the same problem in reverse.
But you're not told that or anything. So anyway, now I've got one son over there and one son over there now. My wife's over there. This has gone on now for so long. Now twice I've been refused a visa. Now I'm an invalid now. I have to stop work.
It's bad, it's Dawn's in jest saying if your wife came over on a boat, it'd be okay.
But
it's not a joke, actually.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's not a joke. And my friend's in a similar situation, Don, and I feel so sorry for you and so many other people in this situation. And this is why the system needs to be looked at. And to be fair to Keir Starmer, what he's suggesting does bring us closer in line with what the EU actually does with the migration situation. So in theory, it could answer problems like Don, but it needs to be fairer for everybody.
But isn't it interesting that but they are not like Don, although it's an awful situation, I hope, Don, there is a way that it gets resolved. But there's not enough desperation there to get into a dinghy. So we're not matching the desperation of people who are risking their lives to get into an inflatable to cross the channel.
All right, Don, thank you. Graham in Glasgow, you've got a suggestion here as to how we could deal with this.
Morning, yes. I think we need to create new versions of Hong Kong's lease land for 50 years and then return it to the country, and then we can invest in it, and then there's going to be wealth created in that area, and people won't need to come here.
OK, give us an idea. That's interesting. Where would you put this land? Pitcairn, or you'd use a sort of British overseas territory, like the Arctic Circle?
Even if we said it was United Nations, and we protect it and keep the freedoms going for 50 years, and then we walk away the same as what we did with Hong Kong. OK, the lease will not be as long, but people will invest somewhere if they know they're going to get 50 years worth of profit out of it.
OK,
that means
let me try that on Dawn, whether you'd essentially be setting up a kind of colony. The Australians have done it a little bit with Papua New Guinea, where they send everyone now.
Well, I mean, that was kind of going to be the Rwanda plan, wasn't it? Which was hideously expensive and didn't work, because we know the problem with lots of things that are being suggested here, and I suspect this will be the same with what Keir Starmer suggested, is the legal situation. We know that lawyers it's nothing to do with the ECHR, but we know that lawyers in this country stopped that happening. And I suspect with what Keir Starmer and Labour are currently suggesting, there'll be all sorts of legal...
lawyers didn't stop it, the law stopped it, Dawn.
Well, the law, but yeah, lawyers were involved in law.
The lawyers even stopped the recent thing of the 1 for 1 in France.
Yes, exactly.
For a day they stopped it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but they can change, if you're a politician, you can change the law. Thank you, Graham. David in London, hello.
Hello.
How are you, David?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Well, listen, it's all about this Labour policy, whether migrants should still be allowed to bring their families over.
Yeah, well, can you hear me? You all right?
No, that thing where is happening now. It's not going through very well.
Hold on, because I'm on a mobile, sorry.
There we go. Try and just do a few sentences.
Okay, how are you?
Yep, we're on. We're live. Yep.
Okay, what it is I've lived in North Greenwich for like 10, 13 years, whatever. Brilliant. And this guy moved in next door to me. He came over on a boat. He's from Romania.
Romania?
And I didn't... Yeah, from Romania. And
doesn't sound right.
He came over on a boat from Romania. From France. He went to France from Romania. He went through all the countries. Yeah. And I thought, how can he come over? He's at all these hotels and that. And he's worked. He came before he came over. He had a job. He got cash in hand, which, was illegal at the time. Yeah. But he supported himself. He now is working legally. He has a lovely flat. He's a lovely person. And when I said to him, why don't old people come over? He said, because they can't. They couldn't survive the journey. No way. And I thought this country was an open
I'm just confused about why Romania's in the EU last time I looked. Why is he taking a boat over here across one of the dinghies, was it, David?
Yeah, he went to France. He went through all the countries, and he ended up getting a boat from France.
Okay, well, thank you very much. There we go. That's I don't know, baffling. Romania is not a country that people need to be coming from for refuge.
The majority of countries at all are countries where there is war.
Yeah, Romania's an odd one. Yeah, not since Ceausescu went. Anyway, David, thank you. Interesting one.